welcome to this week in the world of wrestling.
Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort in commentary, Ashton, and this is our Monday Night Raw review. Yes, this Monday Night Raw was the fallout from Money in the Bank last night. And I gotta say, I thoroughly enjoyed this Raw. Even the moments that I'm sure a lot of people will think were some of the weaker moments of the show, I felt like for the stories that they were respectively trying to tell, they did a good job of furthering those stories. Some great moments, some great progression on a lot of things. And the ending, I think, was the perfect punctuation of this Raw. I really have no ill will towards it. Ashton, what do you think of it?
From beginning to end, this was honestly one of the best Raws that we've seen in a long time. At least since the one that you said hit it out of the park.
Right.
Or no, you said that it was a perfect game. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a really, really good episode of Raw. I'm actually surprised at how good it was, given how awful some of the finishes were to last night's pay-per-view. But yeah, man. From beginning to end, this is just a really entertaining show. There was really only one match that I was really kind of annoyed with, and I think that the purpose that the match served was to annoy people, so I guess that, yeah, I mean, job well done.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. So with that said, let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into our first segment, Heat of the Night. Got no heats of the night, got no nitpicks. Everything's good on my end. What about you, Ash?
Yeah, same here, and it's kind of weird, too, because I was even thinking about having a nitpick, like, these people bought tickets to see pro wrestling or sports entertainment, whatever you want to call it, and they're getting a Machine Gun Kelly concert, and nobody paid for money to buy the tickets to a Machine Gun Kelly concert. So, yeah, that would have been a nitpick, but then what ended up happening in the end completely redeemed it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And actually gave me a whole hell of a lot of respect for Machine Gun Kelly himself.
Yeah, definitely. We'll get into that a little bit later. So with that said, let's keep the momentum going with our Monday Night Raw review. And, the first thing we get is another Dusty Rhodes little tribute at the start of the show, kind of recapping all of that. Very well done. The video package was just absolutely brilliant. Dusty Rhodes with how much he meant to NXT and the performers, that's what really resonated with me. So rest in peace to the dream. But we're live from Cleveland, Ohio tonight, and Seth Rollins by himself opens up the show. And I love it here. See, this is the kind of Seth Rollins I can sink my teeth into. I can really get behind the whole Seth, I'm my own man, Rollins. And I really like that Rollins is WWE World Heavyweight Champion because he says, I told you so. I said I was going to go out and beat Dean Ambrose, and I did. And I like how he approached the whole thing because he actually gives Dean props. He said, Dean made good on his promise. He brought his A-game. The only problem is my A-game is just a bit better. Really, though, the highlight of this promo, and the crowd, I got to give credit to Cleveland. They seemed hot for most of the night. This is a great crowd tonight. And, Seth Rollins actually produced this little piece of paper. He said, I made a list of people I like to thank because, it's been a long journey for me. Nobody ever thought I would make it here. And, it's always a team effort to get to this point in someone's life. And then he goes, Seth Rollins, Seth Rollins, Seth Rollins, Seth Rollins. Wait for it, Seth Rollins. Pretty much every name is Seth Rollins. I love it. And the crowd, the boos just intensify and get louder and louder. And then he just runs down that Cleveland is never going to have a champion, so they should really appreciate him because we know that Johnny Football over there won't bring you any titles. And from what I hear about Johnny Manziel hating Cleveland, I think he even tried to hide his face, like singing his chair, like, yeah, he's right, I hate it here. And he said, LeBron James won't bring you any titles. And this is the only title you should be appreciating. Then Dean Ambrose comes out, and, he pretty much takes it to Rollins. He's still selling the leg injury from last night. Classic Dean, that's why we love him. And he does send Rollins, up, to the back. He wants no part of Ambrose tonight. Then Ambrose grabs a steel chair and a microphone, and he says, last night, I literally had that WWE World Heavyweight Championship in my fingertips. I had a taste of it, and I want more, and I'm not leaving this spot until Seth Rollins comes back out here. And, he just pretty much has a sit-in. And, yeah, as far as, that first segment goes, That was really well done. I love the energy of everybody involved. Ambrose, I don't think he's ever really been hotter as a babyface. I am loving his work. Let me ask you something, Ashton, as a quick aside. Did you see the promo he cut after Money in the Bank went off the air?
Ambrose, yeah, I did.
Yeah, I thought that was really well done. I'm telling you, something's really going on with Ambrose. We'll have a bit more of a discussion about him a little later, because there's...
Well, I think that the most noteworthy thing is that Ambrose has main evented each of the last two pay-per-views. Obviously, he and Rollins both did, but they were both on shows where John Cena was in a match. And, 4 years ago, if it would have been CM Punk, he didn't main event. He main evented, I think, like 2 pay-per-views during his entire year-plus reign as WWE Champion, and John Cena main evented the rest. And that was while John Cena wasn't a champion.
Right.
So I think that it speaks volumes that Rollins and Ambrose are getting these main event spots, just as far as the company's sort of belief in them as performers.
Definitely, and I think back to many TWitWows ago when I said I just couldn't buy Dean Ambrose as a babyface, and yet he is like one of the top ones. I mean, really, he is the top one when Brock Lesnar isn't around, and believe me, we've got a lot to say about that later on. But yeah, I'm just loving what Dean is doing here. It's absolutely wonderful. I think a lot of people are invested in him. I'm very curious what the rest of his year is going to look like. And again, we'll get maybe a little bit more into that a little later. And we see now Ambrose is having this sit-in. It cuts to, you can see on the Titantron, the Authority kind of talking about the issue in their office. Rollins interrupts, says, hey guys, are we going to stand for this? And then they're pretty much like, Seth, you could really do this all on your own. That's what you said. You said that you don't need us, so there really is no we, there's only you. Rollins tries backtracking, but he says, hey, when I was talking about that, I just meant J&J Security and Kane, but the three of us, we got this. We run this place, right? It's all about us. And then Triple H is just like, hey, Seth, you said to trust you that you could beat Dean Ambrose last night on your own, and now we're asking you, to trust us to take care of it, as well as take care of who your next opponent's going to be for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And they say Dean Ambrose isn't out of the question. And when Seth tries to pry and say, well, I get a say in this, right? They pretty much tell him, no. Cue Dean Ambrose, no. Feels like a while since I've said that. So then Rollins kind of slinks out of there. And I guess the Authority continues to decide how they're going to deal with the situation. And we do come to a resolution, because then Sheamus' music hits. And he cuts a promo saying, we're a lot alike, you and I. We both love to fight, and we both made bold predictions last night at Money in the Bank. The only difference is I came through on mine. I'm a winner, and you're a loser. And, Sheamus reminds everybody, with this briefcase, I am just one bro kick away from becoming your WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And he says he was sent out there on the request of the Authority. So our first matchup is Sheamus versus Dean Ambrose. And I gotta say, Ashton, I don't know what it is, maybe because Sheamus is a really good heel and Dean Ambrose is just this white-hot babyface, but I really enjoyed this opener.
Yeah, this was really, really good. This is, to me, the transitions that we had here worked so well. You have Rollins open the show. He gets all of his heat. Ambrose interrupts to kind of transfer all that heat and there's this huge babyface reaction. Ambrose pulls a sly dog little maneuver and says something to Ohio rather than specifically Cleveland, because he's from Cincinnati, and Cincinnati and Cleveland don't get along so well. And then Rollins goes to the back, and Ambrose does this whole sit-in thing. We cut to commercial. When we come back, Ambrose continues cutting his promo, and then Sheamus comes out and gets all of the heat that Seth Rollins originally had. So the way that they just kind of handled the crowd with this whole segment, I thought that it was masterful.
Definitely, and that's a very good point that I actually didn't put much stock into him, so I'm very glad you brought that up.
Yeah, because it's like Rollins did all the work for Sheamus, and Sheamus benefited from it. And it's a great way to build Sheamus back up, because, first of all, here's my thing. I don't know if you realize this or not. I think you and I are literally the only people on the freaking planet that actually liked Sheamus winning Money in the Bank last night, because I've been on Reddit, both looking at the post-show threads from last night and tonight's Raw pre- and live threads, the pre-show and the live thread. Everybody hates Sheamus. Everybody thinks that Sheamus is the worst thing ever. Nobody wanted him to win Money in the Bank. People are saying it made no sense. People are saying literally anybody would have been better. There was somebody saying that the random person that won the fake Money in the Bank briefcase during the sort of WrestleMania Access event this year would be a better Mr. Money in the Bank than Sheamus. Like, people hate it. And because of that, it makes me kind of love it even more, because it's like, well, you have this gigantic group of people that are supposed to be savvy to the business, and they all hate the heel.
Yeah, exactly.
That's such a rarity. Like, you look at Kevin Owens, and he's got amazing heel work going on, and people are like, I love Kevin Owens so much because he gets me to hate him so much. Well, if you hate him, then why are you saying you love him? That's a love to hate kind of thing. I don't think people love to hate Sheamus as much as they just straight up hate Sheamus, and that's a good thing in this context, because, I mean, he's got this Money in the Bank briefcase. People are going to want to see him get absolutely wrecked.
Oh, yeah, and here's the thing. I mean, one thing I kind of pride myself on, both of us on TWitWoW, we always give credit, I believe, where it's due. And I feel like babyface Sheamus, I know there were a lot of times, like, I would rag on him. Sometimes you would just kind of sigh and be like, oh, are we really doing this? But this particular Sheamus, he's never been better. I have been loving it ever since the return. The look, the music, the booking, more or less, yeah. I just feel like this Sheamus I can really get behind. So him with that briefcase, to me, makes perfect sense. I'm totally invested. And this match was just a further reason why. I mean, again, I feel like it was genius putting these two together, because Sheamus has been a great heel. Dean Ambrose, again, is the top babyface, under a particular set of circumstances. And they went out, and I think they had a great match. Sheamus' psychology was on point here, working over the leg of Ambrose, the carryover from Money in the Bank last night. And Dean does a masterful job of continuing to sell it. Great back and forth offense between these two. And what I love about this match in particular is that Dean, I think, really had to, fight from the ground up to get anything done against Sheamus. I remember there was one moment that really stuck out to me where Ambrose is doing the punch-chop combination, and he goes to run the ropes to do the dropkick, and his leg gives out. And I love that. So it really made it seem like, Ambrose is this wounded animal. He's easy pickings for a guy like Sheamus. And, they're having their back and forth. And at one point, Ambrose seems like he's going to hit Dirty Deeds. Sheamus slides out. He's like, I don't need this. I'm Mr. Money in the Bank. But then Orton's music hits, and I don't know why I didn't think, Orton and Sheamus can have a feud while Sheamus is holding the briefcase, because I said on Money in the Bank preview predictions, I thought these guys were going to do a program, and god damn it, they are. So then Orton's kind of, closing off Sheamus' exit. Then Ambrose comes from behind. He rolls Sheamus in. Sheamus tried going for a bro kick. Ambrose ducked, and he got the schoolboy for the win. I'm telling you, though, man, those roll-ups.
Dude, I'm telling you, as soon as Sheamus came out for the match with Ambrose, I immediately said either Sheamus is losing clean or this match is going to have a non-finish. And they teased the non-finish with Sheamus walking out, and then Sheamus lost clean.
Yeah, I don't really know how I feel about that. I get protecting Ambrose, right? I fully understand that, and I want them to protect Ambrose. I just don't really know if I wanted it to be at the expense of Sheamus. But then again, I mean, there's this thing going around. I don't know how long it's been a thing, but I've seen it on Twitter and the internet, Money in the Bank curse. So I guess now Sheamus is the bearer of that whole thing.
I think Damien Sandow was the originator.
Well, that makes perfect sense. But, after the matchup, Orton pretty much takes Sheamus' task, hits a rope DDT, goes to the RKO, but Sheamus is able to slip out, and they just kind of have a stare down.